The EFL Championship has a problem going into the 2025-26 season. It was a problem that was very evident in the 24-25 season, and Championship clubs are already looking to make amends this season and bring in some players that can potentially help out with this situation. If you're a Championship fan, then do hit subscribe on this channel. This is the place to be for daily Championship content. Do drop a like as well if you do go on to enjoy the video. So as you can see on screen now is the league table from last season in the Championship. Now, if you have a look, the number of goals scored in the Championship wasn't really that high at all in terms of teams that could really put the ball in the back of the net consistently. Even the teams at the top of the table, you had teams that are up there with Bristol City, they're not even scoring 60 goals. Blackburn, Millwall only scoring 47 goals in the season. The only team that was absolutely ruthless in front of goal was Leeds United, who absolutely, I mean, you can't say they wore the lead, but they were very comfortable in terms of getting promoted for the vast majority of the season. In terms of the points that they got was just a ridiculous tally. Even Burnley, only 69 goals. Then you go further down the league, there hasn't been a huge amount of goals. You can say Norwich have scored 71 goals, but as I say, in terms of goals scored, there's no team that's unbelievably ruthless going forward. And that's because when you look at the stats and you go to the top scorers in the Championship, we don't really have, and in previous seasons we've had this where, we've always had goal scorers in the Championship, players that can put the ball in the back of the net consistently and just ruthless finishers. In the season of the Championship, the goals have been spread out a lot more across teams. I mean, and maybe it's the way that the game's changing in terms of the out-and-out nine isn't quite as important as what maybe it used to be in the Championship, and the teams are a lot more reliant on, they're not as reliant on one player anymore as what they used to be potentially. But, the top goal scorer in the Championship last season, Joel Peru, 19 goals across the whole season. To get top scorer in the Championship, number one goal scorer in a 46-game season. We've seen seasons with Mitrovic bagging the record, Ivan Toney scoring goals. You even had Sammy Szmodic scoring goals, even last season. You had Sammy Szmodic bagging goals last season, 27 goals, Adam Armstrong, 21. This season in the Championship, we just haven't had an out-and-out goal scorer. Borja Sainz at the start of the season, who was absolutely running away with it in terms of top scorer at one point, but got caught up, obviously had a suspension, and missed a few games, but he only still ended up scoring 18 goals. And if you have a look at this, right, Joel Peru is now in the Premier League, 19 goals scored, he's gone. Borja Sainz probably going to end up leaving Norwich, let's be real, 18 goals gone. Josh Brownhill, the joint second top goal scorer in the Championship, he's not even like a number 10, he's like a number 8, he obviously pushes on quite a lot and gets forward, but Josh Brownhill, to be the second top scorer in the Championship, is absolutely wild. Of course, Josh Sargent missed out on quite a few games due to injury. He got 15 goals, so he could have potentially maybe got the top score if he played the vast majority of the games, which he still played a decent amount of in the Championship anyway. Then you go down to like Josh Windass, Tommy Conway, Callum Robinson, who got relegated, Dan James. Like these players here, they're not like prolific goal scorers. They definitely chipped in and helped out their team, but they're not like, you wouldn't associate with them with absolute bagsmen who are going to score loads of goals. And this is a problem that we've got in the Championship where out-and-out number 9s and just goal scorers in general, in terms of individuality and players that can make something happen out of nothing and score goals. You have Borja Sainz, yes, but you're not absolutely blessed in terms of years gone by in the Championship. We've always had these kind of maverick players and these goal-scoring players that can put the ball into the back of the net. And as I say, this season, we haven't had it. And this is something that Championship clubs are already looking to address. As I say, to have 19 goals is absolutely crazy. You're going back all these seasons, there'll be no seasons that are like 19 goals as the top scorer. Because every season you get goals. So you get Akpom, 28 goals that season. Like, you always have somebody that's bagging goals. Mitrovic costs 43, Solanke 29. You have seasons every single time we have a goal scorer. And this season, the Championship, strangely, we just didn't get that at all. And with the vast majority of these players actually leaving the division, the ones that have scored the most goals, because Josh Sargent might even go as well. Then you're looking at Josh Windass, could potentially be the highest scoring Championship player from last season, who's still in the Championship. If these top 4 players all go, of course, Brownhill and Joel Peru won't be playing in the Championship. And you might not get Josh Sargent or Borja Sainz as well. So who could actually be the goal scorers next season? Now, as I say, Championship clubs are definitely aware of this situation in terms of lack of goal scorers in the division, in terms of lack of goal scorers in their club. Teams are addressing it. We've got quite a few Championship teams that are splashing cash on forward players who could potentially be contenders for even the top goal scorer this season. When you look at the amount of money that some Championship teams are spending on forwards, we've got a lot really targeting that position, as I say, because a lot of teams, and pretty much every single Championship team, if you're a fan of your team in the Championship, you probably think we could do with another goal scorer. Like, every single club, you can always do with a goal scorer. Now, Birmingham are a side that have splashed on a striker. The first one being Kyogo, who's come in from Rennes, obviously struggled at Rennes, did unbelievably well at Celtic, had seasons where he just bagged goals for absolute fun. If you look at season by season, just, 2 years ago, he had a season where he scored 35 goals in 52 games. Now, Celtic fans do say he may be falling off a little bit over the last couple of years, and he's slowed up a bit. He is now 30 years old, but in the Championship, I have absolutely no doubts he'll do very well this season in the Championship. And a guy who's been pretty prolific over in Scotland now. I know, of course, the Scottish Premier League and the Championship is a complete different league. It's a complete different level. And people can look at the way that he performed at Rennes. He didn't really get given a real go. Apparently, the Rennes manager got sacked before he actually really got a run of games in the team. So you can argue that with Kyogo, maybe the new manager just didn't fancy him at Rennes. But as I say, his record at Celtic can't really be denied. And he's a player that we've got to consider being up there for the Championship top scorers. As I say, if Borja Sainz goes, if Josh Sargent goes, the players that have been promoted, you're looking at competition for the top scorer. And who's really going to be up there in terms of a new sign that's coming in? Kyogo could definitely be one of them players. In terms of another club that's splashing money on a striker, Derby County. And it's apparently like £5 million, which is absolutely wild, for Patrick Adjumang. Now, he's been playing for the USA in the Gold Cup, and they just lost the last game to Mexico in the final, but he was the starting striker over the course of the tournament, getting good minutes, did score a goal against Haiti, but he's not really been a prolific goal scorer. Now, he looks to be an absolute handful, this geezer. He's going to be definitely an interesting signing for Derby County if it does go ahead. £5 million, I say, it's a lot of money for a guy who's coming over from the MLS. 6 goals this season and 1 assist. As I say, goals isn't really his main game. He's got a lot more to his game than what I've seen other than goals. So it's going to be a very interesting signing. 24 years old. Derby County need forward options going forward. I think John Eustace definitely needs more options in that kind of attacking line. And we saw Derby really lacking in terms of, really found wanting in terms of going forward. Obviously, John Eustace got the best out of them players at the back end of the season to keep them up. But with no doubt, Derby County need upgrades up front and in the attacking line in general. And Patrick Adjumang looks to be that guy for Derby County. As I say, played in the MLS, scored a few goals for the USA national team. He actually starts for USA, as I say, which is crazy because they do have a few options. And also, there's another USA striker we're going to talk about in a second that is also potentially on his way to the Championship for a pretty big money move. And to be fair, for Derby County to be throwing about £5 million, it really is some ambition shown from Derby County. Back in John Eustace, of course, did so well last season to keep them up. And it's good to see that he's getting backed by the Derby County board and the higher-ups at Derby County, putting the faith in him to bring in the players that he wants to bring in, because obviously the signings he's made so far have been very experienced players and free agents as well. So it's good to see John Eustace getting some money to spend, and it's an interesting signing, Adjumang. I'll be very intrigued to see how this works out if it does go ahead. As I say, one that we definitely need to keep an eye on. And from one American striker to another American striker who was also in the squad for the USA, we're going over to Southampton, who also have they have a decent option, a wealth of options in that attacking line, especially in the number 9s forwards. You've got Cameron Archer, who's still there. You got Ross Stewart. You've got Adam Armstrong. Now, I don't know the kind of futures of these guys and what's going to happen with them, but you've got to assume that someone's going to be making their way the other way, because Southampton are looking to bring in their own American striker in Damian Downs. He's got a lot of hype about him. Looks to have the attributes of a good striker, and he's got, as I said, the attributes to really do well at Championship level. Again, He's a backup striker right now in America to Patrick Adjumang, who's the one who's been getting picked as the number 9 in the recent tournament for the United States. He scored 10 goals in the second tier of the Bundesliga for FC Cologne. He has scored a few goals there over the course of his career. He scored like 30 goals there, something like that, around maybe 20 odd goals. He seems like he's done pretty decent by all accounts over in Germany. Obviously, it's a completely different ball game going across to the Championship, very, very physical. We'll see how he gets on over there if he does sign for Southampton. I say £7 million is a pretty big money move for Southampton there, if they're making a move like that. And a 21-year-old obviously can grow quite a lot with the club. And Southampton's recruitment is generally pretty good. So I do think he should probably be a decent signing for Southampton. But it's another one where we have to wait and see, because it's a very popular thing these days, isn't it, for clubs to go overseas, especially Championship clubs these days now, to go overseas and shop for different talents from abroad, which, as I say, it's definitely something that's becoming a lot more prominent in the game over the last few years. And Damian Downs coming over from the Bundesliga will be a very interesting sign. I'll be looking forward to seeing how he gets on. And speaking of another transfer that's coming in from overseas, it is Matthias Kvistgaarden. Now, from what I've seen of him, this guy looks absolutely ruthless. Coming over from the Danish league for Brøndby, where in this season he's been absolutely on fire. 26 starts, 17 goals, 5 assists, £7 million. His market value is apparently €9.7 million, so it looks like Norwich are getting a decent, but that's Norwich who are looking to sign him, by the way, which you just got to think, Josh Sargent's got to be going. Like, this guy is going to probably be the Josh Sargent replacement, let's be real. And as I say, his record is ridiculously good. 23 years old, so still got a lot of potential to grow even more as well. And he looks to be a very interesting striker. He's pretty ruthless as well. Played for Denmark as well, made his debut for Denmark in the recent international break as well. So he's a player that's obviously very highly thought of over there, and his record kind of speaks for itself. Now, of course, there's another question: can he bring that record over to the Championship football? But again, Norwich always seem to kind of get these gems where they sell them on a few years. They got Borja Signs on like a free transfer. They got Borja Signs. And over the years, Norwich have always managed to sell their players pretty well and bringing gems, I say, where they've always managed to generate revenue for them players. And you think at £7 million, if he could maybe hit the Championship by storm, if he starts off well and you're looking at a player there, you can get a lot more money for. So Norwich City, I always back them with their kind of recruitment, and especially with players going forward, they always do find them kind of players as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this guy gets on. As I say, what do I know? He plays in the Norwegian league. Not like I watch Norwegian football. Oh, sorry, he plays in the Danish league. Not that I've watched any Danish football in my life. And we've got another Scandinavian player who is coming over from Norway that looks to be heading to West Brom. And this is a guy called Hegebo. Now, again, this guy plays in the Norwegian league. He's played 13 games this season, scored 7 goals. Looks to be pretty ruthless over in that division. He scored 50 goals or 47 goals in 135 games. And West Brom fans are calling him the Championship and the new Erling Haaland. So it's another one where, again, what do we know really? He's coming over from a league that I've personally not watched, and I've not seen anything of this guy. Record looks good. 23 years old. Got the potential, it seems. And again, it's just how he can adjust to Championship football. But you're looking at the fee that West Brom are spending. It's like £5 million, something around there. Yeah, £4.7 million. So they're spending quite a bit of money. And you're looking at it there, you've got multiple clubs. You've got Norwich City, you've got Derby County, you've got Birmingham. You've now got West Brom. There's also another one in there as well, which I just can't remember. Right? Oh, Southampton as well. Spending big fees on strikes. And as I say, it's been a clear problem in the last season with out-and-out number 9s in terms of goal scorers. And some of the Championship teams are definitely looking to address this with players that from overseas have got very, very good records in terms of goal scoring records. And it's just a question, can they bring that over to Championship football? It's all a case of we'll wait and see. But it's a very exciting times for all these clubs, spending that kind of money on forwards. It is very exciting when you're looking at the Championship spending that kind of money on players, and it's very, very good for the division. So we'll see how all of them get on. Let me know, who do you think will be the top scorer next season? Of course, we have goal scorers as well coming down from the Premier League who could potentially be up there come the end of the season. As I said, I mentioned the Southampton players as well. I mean, Ipswich, you've got George Hurst, who I think has recently signed a new contract. They're probably going to need another number 9 as well, maybe Leicester as well. I think they definitely need a number 9 going into the new season as well. So let me know, who do you think will be that top scorer in the Championship next season? Will we actually get someone over 20 goals in the next season of the Championship? Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Thank you very much for watching. By the way, hit that subscribe button. If you're new and you've watched this point, do hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much for watching anyway. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.